I'm Timothy Vigil, and this is Just Another Word, the Word of the Day podcast for storytellers. Episode 34, Pedantic. Of or relating to a person who is excessively concerned with minor details and rules, or with displaying academic learning. Today, we're looking at the specialist who prioritizes the correct over the useful. The one who will always tell you when to use who or whom, and who can often fail to understand that it's not always appropriate to correct someone else in their grammar. Today's word, pedantic. The pedantic archetype creates immediate conflict in a story the moment they appear on the page or the screen, because they are inherently frustrating to be around. They are the social friction in a scene. Correcting people mid-sentence, they may halt the action to argue the proper nomenclature of a weapon and give the person who they're interrogating time to figure out their lies. Their need for the specificity can be a hindrance in many situations. But there are strengths, and I'd like to focus on those. So the secret to a great pedantic character is turning their social disadvantage into their narrative and character strength. A pedantic character has an extreme obsession with minor details. The level of minute focus they have may in fact be one of their strongest capabilities. This may allow them to solve problems that other characters overlook. A pedantic character may just be able to spot a forgery because the supposedly British professor used the American spelling of the word instead of the English. Pedantic characters give us space to focus on specificity. Using a character like this in your story can be quite interesting. It allows the other characters in the story to be annoyed by them. A character who's constantly correcting your grammar can be annoying, but if done just enough, can give us a sense that the characters are annoyed by them, even if we don't find them super annoying. Because there is a concern with a pedantic character, that if you take it too far, if you are overly pedantic, they can become boring or frustrating to read. I think this is particularly true if the character that you are using as a pedantic character is one of your major viewpoint characters. A major viewpoint character who is hyper-pedantic can become so tiresome to a reader. To make them work, you must inject them with one of two things. Either a great deal of humor, either humorous things that happen to them because of their pedantic nature, or a humorous use of being pedantic, things that make the reader want to come back and see how they're going to correct people, the fun ways that you can do this. This is difficult. The other way that you can deal with them is by adding sympathy. Creating a reason why they do these things. Creating a sense of maybe this is beyond their choice. They aren't being pedantic because they feel like they're better than everyone. They're being pedantic because incorrectness has hurt them in the past. They aim for hyper-specificity because they want everyone else to understand exactly what they mean, so that they are only being judged for exactly what they mean. And so that they are only judging those around them for exactly what they mean. But you have to give them the reason why. Perhaps it is the only way they feel in control over this chaotic world. But make the reader grow fond of this quirk, or the character will likely fail. But if you can make them grow fond, they'll follow the character anywhere. Now, the interesting thing about a pedantic character is they often don't just speak. Their need for specificity can mean that inside of a dialogue, they are often taking on the tone of a lecturer. They are correcting small mistakes regularly. And you need to have this as part of the way that they speak, regardless of whether anyone else in the scene wants them to be doing this. Imagine a pedantic character who is correcting the main character talking about how it's dangerous to have a specific set of very breakable china. And the pedantic character might say something like this: I believe you mean to say the situation is precarious, not dangerous. Danger implies a known threat, whereas precarity suggests a structural failure that is, quite frankly, inevitable. And do stop calling it a plate. What you're holding is quite clearly a saucer. They correct both the idea that the main character is saying this is dangerous and the physical object that they are calling by the wrong name. The pedant wants them to get this right, not just because they want to be right, but because they think that the words themselves and their specific meanings are important. In this line, the character prioritizes the correct word over the useful one. They're quick to the helm of the dictionary. They don't always understand that that's not necessarily important for the conversation. A pedantic character reminds us that the world is built on small things. We might strive for the big moments, but in the minor details, we can often find the structure. Is there a character that you could give a pedantic streak to? In your next draft, look for that. Perhaps you can use a pedantic streak in a character to cause trouble in their relationships. But then you can give them a chance to save the day by using the very same obsession with specificity that everyone else hates to solve your problem. I'm Timothy Vigil, and this has been Just Another Word. Happy writing.